Take two. Recently, I have began to find so many aspects of my life to be quite mundane. It feels like no matter what I do, I can't escape this feeling of boredom. I wonder, has this sense of perpetual boredom existed throughout human history? I don't think so. I think that this is a unique quality that has arisen by the fact that I'm one of the first generation that was born in the era of the internet. As Gen Z, we are truly the first internet generation. Many of us are not even able to recall what life was like before the internet became a daily part of our existence. Luckily for me, I'm on the older end of the Gen Z spectrum, which means that I can recall a little bit of what our life was like before the internet became a daily part of our existence. As I reflect on these memories, I remember the excitement of having to wait to watch my favorite TV show that only aired at a specific time each week. I remember the fun of spending the entire day playing with my friends outside. And even though these memories are a little bit hazy, they still invoke in me a sense of nostalgia. And as I look back on them, I begin to reflect in the ways that the internet has really and truly changed our existence. And I find myself asking, am I okay with these changes? One of the main reasons that the internet has changed so many aspects of our lives is due to its unlimited nature. When we're online, we're able to consume all sorts of information and media without any limits. This sort of unlimited access is new to us humans. Historically, most humans did not have access to an abundance of things, let alone an unlimited amount. And when you think about it, as humans, we don't even have the capabilities to fully conceptualize what it means for something to be unlimited. I think this prompts a compelling question. How does a species that was conditioned to live in an environment of scarcity behave when it's now exposed to an unlimited resource? Now, of course, this is a very broad question, and I don't think that I have the capabilities or the time to fully answer this question. So I just want to focus on one aspect of it: boredom. And my question is, in a time where we have unlimited access to stimuli, are we even able to truly experience boredom? And the reason that I ask this question is because, by definition, boredom means when you are experiencing nothing, when your brain is completely idle. When I reflect on my childhood, I recall feeling this type of boredom. I recall moments where I was experiencing nothing. And these memories are described well by Mark Fisher's words in his article, "No One is Bored, Everything is Boring." Mark Fisher recalls the boredom that was caused by the dreary void of Sundays, the night hours after television stopped broadcasting, and even the dragging minutes that we spent in lines. This type of boredom doesn't exist anymore. And that is because even when we are waiting in lines, we still have something to occupy our minds, our phones. This then means that we rarely have moments where our brains are truly, completely idle. This is where I am a little bit concerned. In the past, boredom used to act as a motivating agent. When we were experiencing the feeling of nothingness, we found things to do. Once again, I draw back to Mark Fisher's words. He writes, "The vacancy of boredom was a challenge." That is, if we are bored, then it was up to us to find something to fill up the space. Expanding on these thoughts, I think the underlying implication of these words is that, in a way, boredom was a part of a cycle that motivated us to find things to do, to be active. Because when you think about it, when we say that we are bored, what it actually means is that our brains are not perceiving any stimulation. So, to counteract this feeling, we seek things to do to make us feel stimulated. And this could be a range of things. This could be hanging out with your friends, this could be reading a book, or even learning something new. Overall, the feeling of boredom inspired us to do things that we enjoy doing. Over time, our brains begin to associate the reward that we get from completing these tasks with the feeling of overcoming boredom. Of course, once you fast forward to today's time, you realize that we never truly have the chance to experience nothing. Because of all the forms of media that are available to us, our brains remain constantly stimulated. But despite this, the feeling of boredom still persists. This then means that how we experience boredom and consequentially its definition has changed. And I think that this evolution on how we experience boredom can be compared to the experience of overeating your favorite food. When you have a food that you only eat at a certain occasion, like for example, Thanksgiving food, there's a kind of underlying excitement that you associate with eating this food. But if you eat this food every single day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the excitement goes away. This parallels how the internet has affected our experience of stimuli. In a way, because we are always stimulated, the sensation of being stimulated has been numbed. What I'm trying to say is, in a world where we have constant access to stimulation, the feeling of being stimulated itself becomes boring. That's how the internet has changed our experience of boredom. In the past, before the internet, boredom used to be a means to an end. We used it as a way to motivate us to do things that we like to do. But in today's time, boredom itself has become an end. In this modern era where we have access to constant stimuli, we are stuck in an almost perpetual state of boredom. In our daily routines, our lives are saturated with patterns that are repetitive and boring. Yet our minds remain in an almost constant state of arousal. And even once we acknowledge the mundane nature of aimlessly scrolling on social media or listening to our favorite songs on loop, we find ourselves drawn to repeat these tasks over and over and over again. In today's time, we never have the opportunity to truly experience nothingness. And this should be concerning to us because in the past, this feeling of nothingness is what motivated us to do things that we like to do and overall just be productive. I'm gonna end this here. I don't really have a call to action or anything like that. But I'm just using this as an opportunity to put my thoughts out there. And like I said, being amongst the older end of the Gen Z spectrum, I'm really amongst the first humans to experience what life is like in this era of the internet. And I think that as we move forward, we have to reckon with how much the internet has really changed our existence. That was harder than I thought.